Hello everyone and welcome to our Let's Play of Call of the Sea. Call of the Sea was developed by Out of the Blue Studios. It's based in Madrid, Spain, and it was published by Raw Fury and released in 2020. It is a first-person adventure game where you play as Norah Everhart, a woman who sets out to an island in the South Pacific to find her missing husband. So anyway, yeah. This game is a narrative-based puzzle adventure game. There is no combat in it, and the story is very heavily inspired by the works of H.P. Lovecraft, very famous for the Cthulhu mythos. Although, that being said, this game is an adventure game. It is not a horror game. So, it does have some Lovecraftian elements to it, but it is not really horror. It's not cosmic horror or anything of that sense, right? Artistically, the game's graphics, kind of as you see here on the front, on the menu screen here, is very much, kind of inspired by Firewatch that came out a number of years ago. So it's kind of artistic in the way it's made. And of course, it is a puzzle game, which is heavily Myst inspired. That being said, I can say that the puzzles in this game are far easier to solve than in Myst, in any of the Myst games for that matter. So it's pretty straightforward. Now, because this game is very straightforward, it has very kind of straightforward narrative, and there's really only one pathway essentially that you can take. Everything is really pointed out to you in terms of what you can and cannot interact with. I think it's just going to be a very quick let's play. You can literally finish this game in a couple of hours if you know what you're doing. On average, it takes most players, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 6-7 hours to complete on their first playthrough if they don't use any hints or anything like that, or don't go to any walkthrough. But anyway, so that's what we're going to do. So let's just get started. Let me check the options real quick. Good. Keep subtitles on. All right. Turn off head bobbing. Hope no one's... There's not a ton of flashing lights in this game, so I don't think it'll be too much of a problem. So the motion blur off. Head bobbing off. I have increased the field of view to 100%. So yeah, and we should be good. Okay, hopefully it'll avoid some headache-inducing, motion sickness-inducing elements because, you're sitting pretty close to the screen and you don't want the field of view to be too narrow. Anyway, let's get started with a new game and set off on our adventure.
What are those voices?
Alright, well, we start off here. Prologue, a family heirloom, underwater, of all places. Let's start swimming, shall we?
Where am I?
Honey, you are under the water. There's really not much to see here other than look at the pretty textures and pretty graphics and just swim straight forward.
I know this place. I've been here before.
Yes, I've seen a similar door as well. And a clock. Stuck at almost 6. Oh wait, no. Ooh, it's all jumbled. So it's about the clock's upside down. It's at about 11:30. Oh. Interesting. Oh wait, no. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's at about 9:30. Yeah, I can read. I can read the clock.
I've been here my entire life. I'm trapped in here.
Alright, well, we got some chess pieces there. A pawn has been moved, it looks like. There's some convenient stairs underwater here.
These stairs. I'm climbing these stairs again.
No, actually, Nora, you're swimming up them.
I need to get out. The voices are calling me. My old music box. It's broken. I have to fix my old music box. I have to get it. I have to... Those horrible dreams again. I've had them repeatedly ever since my mother died and left me that music box in her will. Harry always said that old family heirloom had something to do with my family's strange disease. If the doctors won't give us an answer about your illness, I'll search for one myself, you said. And in that search, it seems you lost yourself. I don't think I'd ever...
Pardon me, madam, but the island is in sight. We'll be lowering the boat in just a minute.
Oh, thank you so much, Captain Hodgson. I'll be right out. All right. Time to gather my things.
Alright, so we start here on board a ship. She is obviously having a dream, and we have arrived close to Tahiti. We have sailed that way. Notice that she had some kind of funny black dark marks on the back of her hands and her arms, so that will, of course, come into play a little bit later. So we are now in the game proper, you might say.
I'm definitely going to miss this bed. Falling asleep to the ship's rocking was delightful.
So one thing about this game, like I said, it's very straightforward, and it's straightforward in the fact that you can always tell exactly what you can and should interact with by this little eyeball symbol that pops up. So anyway, we're going to take some time and explore the cabin.
It's not exactly a clawfoot tub, but you can't always get what you want.
Wash basin. Looks like we got a cane here.
It's a relief that I don't need it to walk anymore.
All right. Over here.
Merveilles de mer du Sud. Marvels of the Southern Seas, I think.
So conveniently, there's a calendar with Tahiti on it. It is November of 1934, which is the time that this game takes place.
Ah, the amazing adventures of Norah Everhart, art teacher.
All right, so frequently you will be referring to this journal, which you press tab to open here. Okay. You can switch between notes and the log. So funny, it starts you off there. So yeah, the log actually begins on July 6, 1934. It's been a month since I received Harry's last letter. It was postmarked San Francisco and mentioned that the answer to my illness might be found in the Pacific Ocean. I'm hoping his silence is only due to a delay in the postal service. July 14, 1934. Last night I had another of my vivid dreams, but this time something was different. I saw a strange island looming in the distance. In the heart of the island, a huge stone obelisk rose up before a mist-shrouded mountain. I woke up drenched in sweat. September 16. I keep waking up to odd dreams in the middle of the night. Still no news from Harry, and it's been 3 months already. Damn this disease of mine. My husband is missing, and I can barely walk for a couple of minutes without getting exhausted. October 10. An enigmatic sentence written on a photo of my husband. An ancient stone relic that looks like a knife. A brass key with the letters CW engraved on it. All three were in a package I received yesterday, postmarked Tahiti. No sender. Find him. 74 nautical miles east of Otaheite, After leafing through a couple of history and geography books, I found that Otaheite was just the ancient name of Tahiti. That is true. The same place the package came from. What does all this mean? Anyway, my mind is made up. Even though I still feel woozy, I have to give it everything I've got. It won't be easy, but I'll find my husband whatever it takes, even if it means going to the end of the world. October 14. Following Harry's trail, I caught a train to San Francisco. In the Madison building, I found out that on May 25th, Harry bought 6 passages to Tahiti on the SS Carmel. Tahiti again. On a side note, I'm not sure if it's the fresh air or the sea breeze, but I feel much better. October 19. First, I'll sail to Tahiti on an ocean liner. If I don't find Harry there, I'll have to find a ship that will take me to whatever is 74 nautical miles east of Tahiti. This isn't going to be easy, or cheap either. October 23. I missed the sea so much after Harry and I moved to Denver. I love to sit on the deck and watch the moonlight playing on the water. It's so comforting. Seems she booked passage to Tahiti on the 1st of November. November 1, I finally arrived in Tahiti. Finding information about Harry's expedition is turning out to be a tough row to hoe. I think I must have walked all over Papiti asking about them, but nobody seems to know anything. About that place, 74 miles east of Tahiti. Some locals have mentioned an island, but they won't say anything else about it. It's like they think the place is cursed. I met an English sailor, Captain Hodgson. He knew some of the crew members on the Lady Shannon, a whaler. Apparently the ship took an American expedition to an island east of Tahiti. According to Hodgson, it's been months since he last saw the Lady Shannon or its crew. Like every good sailor, the captain is superstitious. Do you think I'm mad? I'm not going to risk the lives of my crew by going to that cursed island, he said. November 4. After 3 days of begging, I managed to convince Captain Hodgson to take me close to the island. Save your money, Mrs. Everhart. Leaving me alone will be payment enough. I think there's a sweet, tender heart inside that grumpy old sailor. So, yep, looks like she's got a picture. Yeah, we got the captain and the crew, and right there, Mrs. Everhart. So, indeed, she has sailed to an island 74 miles east of Tahiti. Okay. Curious things from my journey. Question marks. Drawing a little treasure map. She is an art teacher, so yeah. Here we have, looks like a picture of the front door of their home. Yep, Everhart. Norah, remember this. Front door, and we have the number 506 there.
After spending so much time reading this book, I think I've learned a thing or two about Polynesian culture.
Alright, so she's taken some time to read a book by Gifford Patchett called To the South. Classic, got the apple for the teacher there.
I love this song.
Oh, some nice music there.
I received a mysterious package at my house. I stored all its contents in my locked suitcase.
Alright, so here's the package. You can always read things. A lot of the stuff is scrawled in handwritten notes, so sometimes it's difficult to read. She got one package on 10/9/1934. Was delivered. You can turn things over. There's sometimes stuff on the back of things.
Oh my, I have the worst memory. I forgot the combination again. Thank goodness I always bring my journal with me to write things down.
Yeah, hint, hint. So if we look in her journal, the only notes in it, notes will be anything related to the puzzles. Well, the only thing here is the number is 506, so we can give that a try. 506.
All right, now it's open.
Bingo! There we have it.
Harry Everhart, my husband, my partner, and my dear old pal.
As she mentioned, she put stuff from the package she received in the suitcase. So one is a picture. Looks like he's loading a gun there. So yeah, find him.
A brass key with the letters CW engraved on it, and some enigmatic instructions.
Okay, 74 miles east of Tahiti.
This strange and sharp relic came in the package I received at home.
Got an old, odd-looking dagger here.
I saw this island in one of my unsettling dreams. I drew it as soon as I woke up.
Alright, well, she recalls seeing a mountain and a stone obelisk, the funny kind of square-shaped structure at the top, shrouded in mist and fog.
What was I thinking when I brought all these dresses on this trip?
Alright, so here we go. Brass key with the letter CW on it. Let's go back to our log and read some more. So she says, July 14, last night, I had another of my vivid dreams, but this time something was different. I saw a strange island looming in the distance. In the heart of the island, a huge stone obelisk rose before a mist-shrouded mountain. I woke up drenched in sweat. There we go. There's the island there. And she put the note there. Okay, and I believe that's it so far. We got some other things, like a harpoon, lots of pictures of sailing ships. Looks like a clipper, maybe.
I think I've overpacked.
Yes, for the adventure you're going on, you don't need much.
Captain Hodgson has a very particular taste when it comes to decor.
Yes, I can see that's pretty apparent. These are actual pennants and maritime signal flags. Yes. And this is actually accurate for the time. These flags are from the 1930s, and they were in use by the Royal Navy, the Royal Canadian Navy at the time. So we do still use these flags, but they are different. So, for example, every flag has either a number or a letter attached to it. So, like, for example, we have the Alpha flag, Bravo, right? The Charlie flag, the C flag right there. In the modern day, that is the Zulu flag, and so on and so forth. So the flags essentially remain the same, but the organization of them is different these days. So, for example, like right there, that white and blue one is the Alpha flag currently. So they have changed. But at least the developers took the time to get that correct.
I'd always dreamed of traveling. It was not the same without you, Harry.
Alright, so she's aboard the SS Monterey, expected to arrive in Tahiti on November 1, 1934, freight via San Francisco. Wait a minute. It was reported on our steamship SS Carmel. Okay, sorry. SS Carmel. Why did it show SS Monterey then? Or Carmel as in, like, the city in California? Whatever. Anyway, let's get to it.
I've still got to pack up a few more things.
Nope, but she still has to pack up a few more things. Yes. We forgot these.
Oh, I'd better cover up my hands before I leave the cabin. I wouldn't want anyone thinking I'm a circus freak.
Well, there's nothing wrong. Be proud of who you are. But I'm sure in this...
All set, madam. The motorboat is ready.
Good. Imagine at this time in the 1930s, women were judged far more harshly for their appearances.
Okay, Norah. From here on out, you're on your own.
Lower the motorboat. Be careful with Mrs. Everhart's equipment, lads. We'll be back to pick you up in 3 days. I really hope you find your husband there, madam.
I hope it too. I'll see you in 3 days then.
But please be careful on that island. You know what the legends say about it.
I'll take care. Thank you, Captain Hudson. Well, here I am, in the middle of the ocean after traveling across half the world. Just miles away from where my husband is supposed to be. You left a year ago to search for a cure for my affliction. Your letters kept me close to you, but suddenly they stopped coming. What happened, Opal? What did you find? Whatever it was, it led you to hire a crew and set sail from San Francisco to Tahiti. And from there, to this place. An island in the middle of the Pacific that the locals refuse to even name. Everything is familiar. So familiar. As impossible as that may sound. Is this the island I dreamed about? This can't be a coincidence. Breathtaking, idyllic island, surrounded by deadly reefs and protected with stakes to keep anybody from entering. Why? There's definitely something strange about this place.
Well, I hope you're enjoying the graphics. The game does look very pretty in its very kind of stylized way.
Okay, Harry. Let's see if I can find any trace of you around here.
Alright, well, hold on to your butts. Land ho! I guess in a way, you know what some of these graphics kind of remind me of? They remind me of like older games from like the 90s, like the late 90s. Like think like Nintendo 64 era, you know, the first PlayStation or whatever, you know. Kind of older graphical styles. I mean, this game is not terribly graphically intensive, indeed, but yeah, it's almost like a throwback to older 90s 3D video games. Yeah, but with a bit more detail on them, of course.
I'll leave my things in the boat until I find somewhere to camp.
Okay. Well, here we are, 74 miles east of Tahiti. Now, a little bit of geography here. There is actually an island about 70 miles east of Tahiti, which is the island of Mehaitia. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it's never specified, but, you know, and of course this island is not named in the game, but it could be the, you know, island in the game. Now, according to Google Maps, there are no other islands in that vicinity, so yeah, the island of Mehaitia is literally the only island. It's about 74 miles east of Tahiti. So if you look it up, yeah. But again, the game doesn't specify what island this is. So, and as we're going to eventually see, it probably doesn't even matter. Anyway, let's explore this area where we are.
I know it's just resonance, but I do love listening to the sea in them.
Yes, everyone could use a nice conch shell. Conch, whatever. Anybody ever read Lord of the Flies, right? Remember what the conch shell represents and stands for? All right, let's head over here. There's a little tent over here. There's another she shell.
A tent. So somebody was on this island recently. Well, that's a vivo. A flute that the Polynesians play with their nose. I won't be playing that.
Well, yes. It's infested with germs. I want to touch it.
A miniature va'a, a Polynesian outrigger canoe. Beautifully crafted, too.
Yes, very nice. This design of canoe is very common in a lot of Polynesian cultures, particularly like this crab claw kind of sail. right there, the single canoe with the outrigger on it. So, yeah. Tahiti is part of the Society Islands of French Polynesia. The island itself is actually formed by volcanic activity. It's not a coral atoll. It was settled by Polynesians sometime around 300 to 800 AD, although there is some evidence to support even earlier migration from Western Polynesia as early as like 500 BC from the Fijian, Samoan, and Tongan archipelagos from the west. Broadly speaking, actually, let's talk a little bit about the boats and the people in the Pacific. The spread of people across the Pacific in prehistoric times began in Southeast Asia and spread over the centuries eastward. And in many respects, the islanders of the Pacific had some of the most advanced maritime navigation techniques of their time. Not only could they follow like the feeding patterns of birds, right, when birds would be close to land, but also they could use celestial navigation, they could read the stars, they could read patterns in the waves and how the waves interacted with nearby land masses, which would be islands. They also made use of meteorological phenomena, namely like how clouds interacted when near land, as well as the quote-unquote loom of an island, which is like the faint telltale column of light above things like atolls with lagoons, things like that. So their vessels did tend to be of a shell-first construction, meaning that the planks were lashed together and then the frames were inserted to strengthen the hull after it. So essentially it's a hull-first construction followed by the ribs or the frames for strengthening. Single-hulled vessels, such as the one you see right here, were used for fishing, and they had outriggers fitted on them for stability. So they wouldn't be used on very long journeys. For long journeys, double canoes were used. They were the largest vessels, and like a double canoe would have a deck which would span the hulls where passengers and cargo would be carried. And these were the most stable and used on the open ocean for settling of islands on voyages. Some of these voyages could last as long as 6 weeks. In fact, Captain Cook observed such vessels when he was in Tahiti up to 21 meters long and 4 meters wide, which were capable of carrying anywhere from 50 to 120 people. During the first voyage of Captain Cook, the botanist Joseph Banks actually noted the Tahitian tupia could locate remote islands with journeys up to 20 days, which were not uncommon. According to Wikipedia, the first European to arrive in Tahiti may have been the Spanish explorer Juan Fernandez on his expedition from 1576 to 77. Alternatively, the Portuguese navigator Pedro Fernandez de Queiroz, who was serving the Spanish crown on an expedition to find Terra Australis, was perhaps the first European to see Tahiti. He sighted an inhabited island on 10 February of 1606, but it has been suggested that he may have actually just seen the island of Reka Reka to the southeast. Hence, although the Spanish and Portuguese made contact with nearby islands, they may not have actually arrived on the island of Tahiti. Louis-Antoine de Bougainville arrived in Tahiti in April of 1768. Captain Cook, similarly, was aboard the HMS Endeavour, visited the following year in 1769. Cook would later return to Tahiti on his second voyage in August of 1773. And funny enough, one ship carrying a cargo of Tahitian breadfruit, the crew of a certain ship called the HMS Bounty, you may have heard of it, mutinied against a certain Captain William Bligh and sailed the ship back to Tahiti. Tahiti would become a French protectorate in the early 1840s, and after the death of Queen Pomare, Tahiti became a colony of France in 1880. French nuclear testing in the 1970s unfortunately did not bode well for Tahiti. The detonation in 1974 on the island of Mururoa Atoll actually affected more than 100,000 people who were exposed to the fallout due to the prevailing winds, which blew the fallout unexpectedly towards them, including those on Tahiti. Some people on Tahiti were actually exposed to more than 500 times the maximum allowable level of plutonium. But of course, that happened in the 70s and after this game takes place. So, let's look around a little bit more. Nothing here. Got what looks like a scabbard or something. Probably for this machete.
This machete is completely worn down. The blade is dull.
That's a very interesting looking handle, I'll say.
A note written in French. I only understand 2 words. Île and mort. Island and death.
My French is terrible. I'm not going to try and read that, but that's what it says. Apparently, a translation reads like, "To whomever reads these words, we have profaned this island to find nothing but death. Do not go any further."
It must be a warning about the dangers of the island.
Well, I suppose it's better than abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Cleanly chop down some of these palm trees. Let's see what's in here.
I feel quite good. I dare say I might even walk a little faster than usual.
All right, well, I don't know if you would call this a sprint, more like a trot or a jog. Ooh, what have we here?
Those markings seem to represent the sea. I'll make a note of them in my journal. It might come in handy.
All right, so, yep, we found Madison Line's transportation, her ticket there, her itinerary. Let's see what else we got here. I arrived on the mysterious island, 74 miles east of Tahiti. The fishermen will be back to pick me up again in 3 days. I hope that's enough time to find you, dear old pal. Yeah, they refer to each other as dear old pal, regardless of gender. So it's November 6th, 1934. So we've noted something in our journal here. Okay, whenever there's a blank page, it means you have more stuff to find. So, these symbols must represent waves. That might be important later on. So I think in this particular first video here, we're just gonna go to the end of chapter 1. It's all the puzzles are fairly simple, and then we'll continue on another time. More spikes.
Looks like it opens from the other side.
There's a very serious looking gate there.
These wooden figures are called Unu. This seems to be telling a story.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I have no idea how to read it. And maybe those people or something. They came to the island, or I don't know. Got lots of little totems and things like that. Again, this game makes it very clear about the things you can interact with, so if you don't see anything you can interact with, then, well, there's nothing there, really.
It may look peaceful, but clearly somebody wants to keep outsiders off this island. What a lovely flower offering.
Yes, indeed. Offerings to appease the gods or something.
From what I've read, the Polynesians don't need doors. So why build such a big one?
Well, everyone knows they're housing King Kong behind that. So we have some levers here.
Well, that did something.
Yes, it moved to counterweight.
Something's missing here.
Yes. The emblem on top of here needs to go there, so we're missing one. We need to find it. The lever mechanism is missing its cover. That's strange. Polynesians don't use doors, much less mechanisms, to protect a door. If I want to reach the inner island, I've got to open it. Norah, dear, this is no ordinary island.
someone carved my name in the back of this unu.
Yes. Might be a hint. You never know.
A carving tool. This box. CW. Those are the initials on the brass key. It opens it. So whoever sent me this key was here.
Well, we have another hint here. Appears on that stone with the flower offering. There is another stone you can lift up. Find the
This
the
is
marker
starting to
there.
look like a scavenger hunt.
I need the key I received in the mysterious package to enter the island. What does it mean? What does this mean? Find the cover for the lever mechanism. Well, let's just head back. Right here. If we look at our notes, we'll find it's behind it. Near where these flowers are. Ah, and it appears there is one that looks out of place. Different color.
Well, look what's hidden here.
Alright, well now we have that. We can open that door, hopefully. It's also noted that there are very, very few times in this game where you can actually pick up an object to be used elsewhere. It only happens a couple times in the entire game. So let's give it a shot.
It works.
Alright, we're headed deeper into the island.
This may be the first time I trespass a private property. My childhood in Newburyport wasn't exactly the most thrilling thing.
Into the deepest, darkest jungles. In the barren, frigid desert wastelands of the Pacific, naturally. I'm going to set up camp here with some pictures.
Is that Harry? Harry, you were here. You were here and I found you, damn it. Where are you now? Where is everybody? Where did you and all your crew go?
That is what we're here to find out, Nora.
Lady Shannon? That name sounds familiar. I'd better check my journal.
So, Lady Shannon, cargo, 6 people, fragile instruments, several boxes of equipment, weapons, and explosive supplies for 3 weeks. From the port to Tahiti. Well, if you remember your log, Harry was on this island, and I hope he's still here. I found a photo with all the expedition members, and I think I vaguely recognized some of them from the letters he sent me. But where did they go? Where did they set up camp somewhere else? Well, if we go back right here, it says on the November 1 entry, I met an English sailor captain. He knew some of the crew members of the Lady Shannon, a whaler. Apparently, the ship took an American expedition to the island of Tahiti. According to Hodgson, it's been months since he last saw the Lady Shannon or its crew. So, it seems that Harry took the Lady Shannon and his team to the island.
This reminds me of those slot machines that Harry and I saw at the Atlantic City Pier, but a Polynesian version.
So we have our next major puzzle. You can rotate these things. Okay. But notice that, we have some symbols here. At least one symbol so far. That looks familiar to us. So I'm guessing we're going to need to have to put these in the correct order somehow. Yep. So we do have one symbol, but we need to find, looks like 4 more. So let's keep looking, shall we?
It's been years since I took such a long walk. This fresh air is doing me wonders.
Let's continue heading down the river here. We got here.
What a beautiful mountainous landscape.
I found the missing piece to open the door. I opened the entrance to a mangrove swamp in the inner island. I'm cut off from the heart of the island by a strange mechanical bridge over a river. Someone went to a lot of trouble to keep people away from this place. Well, we found another symbol, so this one means mountains. Let's turn right here, head down here.
I can feel the air is denser here in this mangrove swamp.
Yes, it's a swamp, hence the air will be thicker and more humid. Can't imagine wanting to breathe it. Feels like you're sucking in more water than you are oxygen in the humid air.
Rays of sunlight shining through. Another symbol.
Alright, well, we got 3. We need to find 2 more.
Now that I've crossed half the world, I wouldn't mind crossing the other half.
I'm sure you will
I have
not.
to do it with you, old pal.
My dear old pal, if you take this path, it just takes you back up there. Alright. Oh, another symbol.
This sort of pond is a Polynesian fishing technique. There's another symbol inside it.
Okay, we got the one for fish. I think what happens here is that fish will kind of swim through between these boards, these planks here, and they'll get caught in this little area right here, and they'll be unable to escape, and then you can get the fish that way. We cannot cross these stones. Notice these rocks have been placed as well to kind of funnel the fish from the river into that area. Make fishing a little easier for you. Getting really dark. Indeed, there are some places on some islands in the Pacific where the forest is so dense it literally blocks out sunlight.
Oh my, this is so beautiful. What were these birds called? Lorikeets. Cole's lorikeets.
Well, it's very pretty, I must say. Lovely. Well, we got some birds over here. Lorikeets.
There are lorikeet feathers scattered around this unu. I'll draw the symbol in my journal. Polynesian chieftains make their head ornaments with lorikeet feathers. What a lovely souvenir.
Well, we have our 5th symbol here, so I believe we have all of them. Check this door out over here real quick.
Shortcut. That's convenient.
There we go, we've opened that door. Let's explore this area a little bit more. See what we got here. We can walk up this little stone archway here. And if we look behind it, we found something.
This looks like cargo from an earlier voyage, long before Harry's expedition.
Yep, Sumatra Queen. Well, that is our first secret item right there. And that is basically, I believe, what we're looking for in this area. So now that we have all 5 of our symbols, we can go back to that bridge and hopefully solve that puzzle for how to extend it. Actually quicker just to go this way.
Harry said that he would go to the end of the world to find a cure. And by the looks of it, he wasn't lying. We promised we'd never lie to each other from the moment we started dating, no matter how harsh the truth.
Well, that's very honest of you. It's good to set boundaries in relationships, Nora. All right. So we have our 5 symbols here. But the question is, in what order do we put them in? Well, it took me a while to find this first time I played through it, but if you look on the back here, see? So we have the one for sun, we have the one for birds, mountains, waves or water, and fish. So, might be another hint. First up is the one for sun. Mountains. Or was it birds? Sorry. Birds, mountains, water, and fish. Let's double check that. Yep, sun, birds, mountain, water, fish. Let's try it. Oh, I put the fish in the wrong place. We need the birds here. The birds. There we go. Birds. Let's try it now.
Well, I guess I hit the jackpot. That's my ticket across the river then.
There we go. All right, that extended the bridge, and we're off.
Steady now.
It's awfully intricate and looks pretty sturdy. You know, someone went to an awful lot of trouble to build this.